Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's chapter 84 of Rapid Fate Online. This one's titled Promising Lead. That's so rough, you sighed, squeezing his hand in yours. Still in love, but can't be together. I'll always find a way to be with you, Tamaki blurted out, turning his head to look at you with his small, intimidating irises. There was no hesitation in his voice, and his gaze never wavered from yours. That confident Tamaki had come to the foreground at the perfect moment, and you smiled tenderly at him. I will too, Jiki, you replied, scooting closer and kissing him on the tip of his nose. He leaned in past your nose and kissed you on the lips in return, and that's where you spent the rest of the afternoon, curled up together in his bed, either touching at hands or lips. It didn't feel right to use the new headsets that you had been gifted by your bestie, straight away, so you and Tamaki decided to wait a few days before diving with your new gear, deciding instead to spend a little more time outside of the game and be a support for your friends who were going through a tough time. Things on the surface between your bestie and Mirio looked fine, but after school each day the pair would talk about the other and how painful it was. But they both knew that if it was a future that was out of their hands, then they just had to let it be. After about a week, both you and Tamaki were talking more and more about the mission and were starting to get excited to bring this BB operation to its knees. Do you want to dive together? You asked Tamaki as you walked home together one afternoon. I'd like that, he said with a small smile. I'm a little nervous about not having my usual gear in game. Yeah, it's going to be weird, but we'll still have each other. You smiled up big at him. He nodded, happy that he had you by his side. You walked the rest of the way to his place and then up to his room, pulling out the headsets and plugging them in. Are you ready? You asked him, lying down beside him on the bed. He nodded and put the headset on, then lay down as well. On 3. 1, 2, 3, link start, you both said at the same time. Those familiar swirls of colour mixed with white drew you in, but instead of waking up in your own forms in the honeymoon suite or at home, you woke up in a character creation station and paused. Oh dang, I haven't even thought of a username, you thought, standing there in the white room wondering what to put down. After thinking it over for a bit, you decided to go with a name that you related to on a spiritual level, then quickly made your character and pressed enter. That all too familiar voice welcomed you to Dawn City, and you found yourself on the teleportation platform, ready to try and find your man. This would have been so much easier if I had asked what his username was going to be, you thought as you looked around. Everyone seemed to be going about their daily lives, and you read some of the usernames of the players around you. As you looked to your left, you saw a male player standing idly, looking a little nervous, and you looked at their username. Tamajiki. That's got to be him, right? You thought, turning to walk over to him. It's a mashup of his first and last name, just like what Mirio did. As you approached him, he looked at you. Yin, he whispered. You nodded. Hi, baby, he said softly. He relaxed and gave you a warm smile, embracing you as you opened your arms out to hug him. Look at you, you look unrecognizable, you said with a chuckle, stepping back to check out his very ordinary village clothes. This feels really strange, he replied. I feel a little light without my usual sword. Well, this will be an exciting adventure with just the two of us and absolutely nothing to our names, you said, swiping your menu open. It was completely void of items or mahi, and you broke down in tears. No, this feels horrible. I don't like this at all. Where's all my stuff? I can't cope. Tamajiki placed his hand on your arm, and you looked up into his face. This is how they felt. All those who were just trying to level up and got caught up in the scam. This is their feelings. We're carrying the loss they felt. Let's use these feelings of despair to bring justice. You stopped and looked into his determined eyes, feeling his passion radiating. You're right, you said solemnly, closing your menu and straightening. Okay, now what? Now we go to the vendor next door to the tutorial place just there. Wherever there's a legitimate help, there'll be a counterfeit not far behind. He pointed to the 2 buildings, and you turned to follow him there. Honestly, if I'd just walked over here on my first day in game as my other avatar, it would have saved me a whole bunch of time. But then again, I may not have met you, you mused as you walked. I'm glad fate brought us together, he said back over his shoulder to you, and I won't let anything tear us apart. You smiled and followed him into the vendor shop beside the tutorial shop, and noted that the person behind the counter was an actual player, not an NPC. Hello, the player said. What brings you here? Would you know where me and my girlfriend here, Tamajiki gestured back to you, could level up quickly? We have a few friends in game, and we want to be a little more up the ranks before we meet up with them. Ah, yeah, I know the feeling of being the one who drags the team down, the guy said. There's a group here who help new players get experience quickly, but I don't have a direct contact. Try the inn at the end of town. Not the one inside the gates, but the one just outside the gates. The owner there has connections, I think. Your skin prickled with excitement. This is it. It's happening. We're about to go undercover and bring these bastards down. It does involve slave contracting though, the guy continued. If you're okay with that kind of thing. And there ends chapter 84. Stay tuned for chapter 85.